Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the Anand Sagar College of Engineering, Department of Management Studies, online finance lecture series in the subject Financial Derivatives. We are in the third module, and today we'll be discussing on valuation of the option contracts. The main objectives of the session is to introduce you to the concept on put-call parity relationships. The put-call parity relationship comes in very handy when we have to calculate the value of the put options given that the call option value has been given. Now, put-call parity relationship is nothing but it is the relationship between the European call and the European put option, given that the strike price, the underlying asset, as well as the expiry are identical in nature. And thus, the put-call parity relationship which exists, which we will be discussing, holds good only for the European options. Now, the same thing can be shown in the form of a payoff diagram. If I consider the first one, the European call as well as in terms of the put option, remember, if they have identical strike price, that means the exercise price for the put option as well as the call option will be the same. So if this is the case, if I consider first the call option, the buyer of the call option will enter into a contract at the exercise price. He pays a premium, and thus the break-even point will be exercise price plus premium. If for the European put option, the exercise price for the buyer of the European put option, if the exercise price is the same, we will be able to notice that for the buyer of the put option, the break-even point will be nothing but exercise price minus the premium. So in both the cases, the buyer of the European call option will make profit if the spot price is greater than the exercise price. Similarly, the buyer of the European put option will be able to exercise if the spot price is lesser than in terms of the exercise price. Now, just remember that for the put call parity relationship, we always assume that the value of the call option will never be equivalent to the value of the put option. So we consider that the strike price, the underlying asset, and the expiry is identical in nature. Now let's consider the first scenario where the value of the call option is lesser than the value of the put option. Now, the buyer of the call option will enter into a contract at the exercise price by paying a premium amount, and in this scenario, the break-even point will be exercise price plus the premium. So the buyer of the call option will always exercise if the spot price is greater than the exercise price. Consider the second scenario where the value of the put option is much higher because the premium which is paid by the buyer of the put option is much higher, and thus the break-even point for the buyer of the put option will be exercise price minus the premium, and he will be able to exercise if the spot price is lesser than the exercise price. Consider the second scenario where the value of the put option is higher than the value of the call option. So considering the payoff diagram, when we consider first the value of the call option, the premium that is paid by the buyer of the call option is much higher, and thus the exercise price plus the premium break-even point will be much greater, and his chances of making profit will automatically reduce since the value of the call option is much higher. Similarly, take the case from a point of view of the put option where the buyer of the put option will be entering into contract at the exercise price by paying lesser premium than the call option, and thus the break-even point will be exercise price minus the premium, and there are more chances for the buyer of the put option to make gains if the spot price is lesser than the exercise price. So if the dividend on the stock or index is not given, the put call parity relationship can be given by the formula wherein the difference between the value of the put as well as the call option is nothing but the discounted value of the exercise price minus in terms of the spot rate. And if we rearrange this formula, we can find that the value of the put option is nothing but call option minus the spot rate plus the discounted value of the exercise price. And thus, this relationship can be used to find out the value of the put options, given that the call option value is given. And similarly, if dividend on the stock or index is given, remember we need to remove that effect of the dividend from the spot price, and thus the formula remains almost the same, except for we will be considering e power minus delta t, where delta here refers to the annual dividend rate of the stock or the index. So by rearranging, we can find out the value of the put option using this formula, wherein value of the put option is nothing but call option minus the discounted value of the spot price plus the discounted value of the exercise price. Now, if the put call parity relationship doesn't exist, then there exists an opportunity for arbitrage. What is the first scenario? The scenario one is if the portfolio with European put is overpriced to portfolio with the call, the arbitrage exists. So in this situation, what we'll do is we will buy the call option and we will short the put option and in terms of the asset. In this scenario too, if the portfolio with the European put is underpriced to the portfolio with the call, then since arbitrage exists, we will be able to short the call option and then we will be able to buy both put option as well as in terms of the asset.